Hello, everyone. So, first of all, I want to apologize for the crazy delay on everything and obviously learning how to set all this stuff up. I'm still really new to all the better technology that I've got. So, first of all, I want to say a massive thank you for my new sponsor, Cold Skull Coffee. The dude's coffee is insane. So, you can check him out. He's obviously www.coldskullcoffee.com. One of his blends that I use is called Rocket. It's called Cold Start, and it's like rocket fuel. The stuff is awesome. So I am really excited to introduce tonight's guest. I got to meet Andrew at the Custom Culture Blast Off back in September, and his work is insane. So yeah, so I'm obviously going to stop waffling on, and I'm going to introduce the man himself, Andrew, aka Kookietiki.
Yeah.
Hello, mate.
All right.
How are we doing?
Good.
So obviously we've got to meet before, which is we got to meet you at the Custom Culture Blast Off, which obviously was awesome. It was great to meet you there, and also like we've mentioned you on the Custom Culture on the KKBO podcast as well. Like you're first of all, for people that don't know, obviously you make incredible ceramic sculptures, mugs, all related very much to the custom culture scene. Obviously the Kookietiki is like, we spoke about before. You did the tiki cups, and so obviously I'm waffling on here, but like if you want to introduce yourself and kind of like tell your story, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Well, as I say, thanks for the invite. Anyway, it was a bit of a shock because I still think of myself just as working away over here in the hills. I tell you, nobody knows about me, but social media is a wonderful thing. And getting to meet people. But no, what do you want me to start? I'm 57 now, so I could go on for a good bit. But no, my trade, I'm a car body man by trade. That's what I still think of myself as, And about 15 years ago, got arthritis. My hands had to stop work. I've always been in the art. It was my thing in school. It was only thing I was any good at. The usual, you hear this all the time, it's the usual story. But, well, Jesus, it was a bad time. Basically, I had to give up work. Had to go on the sick for about maybe a year. Real bad way, trying to get proper medication and stuff. Really dark place, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I actually started airbrushing. I was already been into custom paint work in cars and everything, so took up the airbrush and was working away at that for a couple of years. Had a bit of a business going. Just got fed up with it, to tell you the truth, and ended up going back to college to do a bit of a art course just to get my skills up. And then from that, I have no idea what happened. It's a blur, really. I just ended up doing a degree in ceramics over here in Belfast, and after that, I just got out, started, craft fairs and all that nonsense, and wasn't happening. And then I just went back to what I really love, which is the whole car culture, the bike culture, the tiki culture, the custom culture, and then tiki mugs was starting to get it's been a big thing for 15 years now, type of thing. The new wave tiki I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Got into that, and oh my god, over the last few years I've been making and posting mugs all over the world, so
That's incredible, isn't it? I mean, I know, like, obviously we got to speak. I kind of did a mini interview with you over at the Custom Culture, and obviously you say you used to ride bikes, and I think you still own a bike, don't you?
Bikes were part of my life when I was 6-year-old. I started off with a TY80. We lived in Australia for a while, so I would have been oh god almighty, the stories we could tell, buying old Honda 50s out of the, going back to the 80s type of thing, and you're killing yourself, and three-wheelers. I was into old trikes, the ATCs and stuff like that back in the day. Still have one. But no, I've had bikes for years, road bikes, commuted every day in bikes for years, and then probably about 15 years ago, 20 years ago now, maybe, I had a pretty bad smash. That was, the first one was, let me see now, the first one I was 15. and I had a little bit too much to drink. Let's just say, and I hit I hit a maxi. If you know what a maxi is, do you? But
Maxi Pooch.
no, the car, a
Oh
maxi,
right, okay. Oh
yeah,
no.
an old British Leyland thing. They're like a tank, and there was one parked up, and of course I jumped on this CG 125 when I was 15. Totally in the trees, max straight into the front of this maxi, broken wrist, wrecked everything. So that's probably where the arthritis came from. Tell you the truth.
Do you
And
know?
then,
I was literally thinking the same thing because obviously, unfortunately, that seems to be a thing, doesn't it?
yeah. No,
It's so. What bike? You say you've still got a bike. What bike have you?
well, I had my last bike was a Triumph 900 trading, the triple, one of the
Yeah.
later water cooled ones, and that I had a pretty bad smash in that too. Front brake seized up,
Oh
came
bloody
off,
hell!
and that was the last. My daughter actually seen it because I was taking off to work one day, and I said to myself, you know what, I've had enough of it, but I still have I've still got I have a TY 175, I have a Yamaha 3-wheeler Widowmaker.
Oh wow!
Brilliant from the old school, the real old school trike, 1980s trike. So one of them. I have a ATC 70 trike. I have a wee Dax 90 road bike,
Okay.
which I used to throw in the back of the camper, so it's still sort of road legal. I have a chopper frame, a proper old school 70s chopper frame sitting in the shed. I'm threatening to rebuild maybe sometime if I ever get the time. And a couple of other bits and pieces, and I flipping Royal Enfield land. It's collection of a lifetime basically. But no,
Nice.
I still love bikes, but they just don't love me as much, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I suppose, like you say, if you've had a few bangs, it kind of leaves a mark, doesn't it? Well, literally, obviously, like you say, you've got arthritis and that, but it's so obviously when you said like you had, where did the interest for the tiki culture? Where did that come from? Was that?
It's actually it came from the custom culture,
Okay.
and the airbushing. There's a guy Dennis Matheson from Hawaii. He years ago, I followed him when I was doing the airbrushing. He did an awful lot of tiki work. I was really cool looking, and sort of I knew the whole sort of culture type of thing. With a custom culture and the old murals and the vans and that type of thing, the palm, whatever. So I got into it that way, and then as I say with the ceramics, I was just trying to find something to get me back into what I love. That scene, I got disillusioned over here. I was doing craft fairs. I was trying to make stuff to sell in craft fairs, and just wasn't me. Really, it just. I was trying to be something that wasn't, and then I have a mate over here and he says, look, tiki mugs, have a look at them. So I started looking at them and I started off, just doing my own sort of wee designs and everything. And, when I look back now at my early stuff, I sort of go, oh God, that's not great. But that's the way you have to evolve, it's good seeing your old stuff and seeing how it evolves type of thing. Yeah, and I got that on Instagram. I just started posting on Instagram and a few people bought a mug. Another few people bought a mug, and then I started doing a lot of Universal Monster stuff, Frankenstein and the Boris Karloff and stuff. So with Tiki, it's a massive crossover. You do get the traditional Tiki guys, and it's basically not a Tiki unless it's a Tiki god, or you get the guys with crossovers and cars and everything. So there's a whole. It's just so big, and I'm more into the art side of it. I'd have to say than the whole cocktail side of it. You get the guys that live the whole lifestyle. I'm not really into that. I like the artwork side of it more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously, obviously looking at like some of the masks, some of the cups and that, like they're very. Like it's weird because obviously, like they don't like. Obviously, you're known for tiki masks, but yet, like, kind of the other side of it is completely just a different style of, like the Frankenstein style stuff and that, which I think so. It's all incredible.
Well, the way there's people, that'll, you can't. That's not a tiki, but a lot of people say, well, it's a mug. You can put a tiki cocktail into it. So you really don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
No.
There's so many guys that just like this, like that. But I make what I like. You know what I mean? I just. But the whole idea, the whole history of tiki is crazy. If you really get into it, tiki was basically Polynesian. He was the first man. So it was like Adam. So they are. If you get into the history and the whole sort of that side of it, it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, which and that's it. That's just it. And it's like you when you got like people claiming to be Vikings and things. So like technically, it's like, does it matter? Like at the end of the day, if you love the idea of being a Viking and you claim to have Viking blood and all that, it's like it don't really matter, does it? Like it's as long as you're happy and you're not upsetting people, directly.
The whole tiki thing was an American made up culture basically from the 30s. So you could do a whole podcast on the history of it. So it's really interesting, very interesting. It's escapism basically.
Yeah. So when I kind of think of it, especially like when obviously looking into like what you're doing, it reminds me very much of like the surf beach vibes, like like the old woodies, like the old like low, like the old, the woody cars and like the surfboards on the top, like the surfers basically over in like California and things like that, or even Australia, and like that's kind of what I see it as. Like,
no, it's if you really want to get into it, it is amazing. We did have it over. We had Trader Vic's here in London, and then there's a few other good bars around the UK type of thing, but it's nowhere near the same. Every year it seems to be getting bigger and bigger, and there's more people getting into it and collecting mugs. It seems to be this whole sort of world out there that people have their houses full of mugs. There's different level of collectors. There's guys that would collect, cheap Chinese mugs or mugs from bars, and then there's guys that collect my type of mug, which would be more of an artist-made mug. One guy in his studio, which are more expensive. They're just so time intensive, really time. So there's so many different levels and so many ways to get into it.
So what is it you think? What is it you think that they're people like when they're buying one of your mugs? Do you think is it the exclusivity they're buying into? Obviously, apart from the craft, obviously like the quality, because obviously everyone that follows you can see that even just off the pictures alone, they're nice. Do you know what I mean? Like the airbrush inside of it, and like like how you do all the ceramic work, and like so you think they're buying more into the fact that there's only maybe one or two of them ever being made?
Yeah, that's really the way I went. When I first started off, I was looking at it. I was doing one single glaze mugs, selling them for 30-40 quid each. You know what I mean? But I couldn't compete with that. There's too many people doing that. You've got like Tiki Farm, Montiki. These guys are pumping hundreds of mugs out. If you want to compete with that, you're going to have a large scale setup and basically just mass produce them. So to me, that's not real. That's not what I want to do.
No.
So I decided, right, I'm going to get the best that I can get with my skills and not worry about anything else, not worry about trying to sell them, not worry about if anyone's going to, buy them type of thing, keep them low, maybe make 50. Sometimes I haven't even made 50. I don't make a lot of mugs, but that's, I think, a lot of people come back to me that have bought mugs from me in the past, and if I put a new one out, they'd buy that again type of thing, So I'm not really, I'm not, I don't know if I'm not really all that well known, I don't think. But the people that know me like my work, and they'll buy it. And if you've got good customer service and you look after them, they'll also come back to you.
Yeah, I mean, and do you know what? I've been lucky enough to have this 50-second episode of my podcast. So I've been lucky enough to sit down and talk with some incredible people around the world, and what you seem to notice with people that are really good at what they do, and well respected at what they do, there's still that very much that like real humbleness of like, oh, I don't think I'm very known, but I have a couple. Do you know what I mean? Like there's that modest. I don't know the best way to say it, but like really humble, like really like down to earth, like not. Do you know what I mean? You know, and obviously, the fact is your cup, your mugs, your artwork, and obviously, you know, everything you do. It's gone around the world. You know, I mean, like I can imagine you've probably posted to pretty much all regions of the world.
More or less, yeah. I don't think I've done China yet. But no, I just posted a rat fight mug to Australia.
How cool is that?
But that's what I'm saying. I can't get it into my head still that I'm doing this. You know, I'm a panel beater from Belfast. You know, I'm just a working class guy. I was lucky. I was actually very, very lucky getting arthritis. That's the best thing that ever happened to me in my life.
Wow.
Because if I hadn't got that, I would still be grafting away in body shops, you know, and having this idea of wanting to do something. You know, I was always a one who would have painted bits and pieces for mates. You know, back in school, I would have been painting, you know, denim jackets, you know, meatloaf, whatever, you know what I mean, type of hanging jackets. So I was that guy. I was the guy that the mates had come to get artwork done and stuff. And I never, ever thought in my wildest dreams that this would happen. You know, back then, if you didn't do good in school, you didn't go on to college, which was art college. I wasn't good at school, type of hang up, good at art, whatever. You were straight out into a trade. You know, there wasn't even any talk about you going on to doing higher education in art or anything like that. You know, you that wasn't you. You just went and got a trade. I got a trade, did me really good for so many years. You know, it paid the bills or whatever, and it was strange. You know, having to walk away from that was very strange. You know, and then trying to change your whole life. I think it was 40. Going back to school. Jesus. That was nuts, like, you know, it was a real challenge, you know.
So obviously, you went back to school to learn how to do ceramics.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I had no intention of doing ceramics. That wasn't on my radar. I was doing the airbrushing. I got good at airbrushing. I really enjoyed it. Problem was, I was still doing prep work, which flew it up the hands. I'm okay doing, you know, clay work and all because soft, but when you're doing body work still, I've got carpal tunnel too, so you just have to, the more heavy work, it'll catch you up in the end type thing. But I was just getting fed up with that with the bikes. I was doing a lot of scooters and stuff, but I seemed to be doing more body work again. So I said, right, I'll go and do a day course in drawing just to get my skills up. And I didn't intend to do any of it. It's just the teacher said, right, you should go on to do a foundation. So I did a foundation, which is great because it teaches you everything. And then one of the tutors said, right, why don't you apply for college, for university? I'm going, what? I had a sit. I didn't get English in school, right? I came out of school with what? This is no level in art. That was it, more or less. I had to do the GCSE English with a load of 18-year-olds in the local tech.
Wow.
to be able to go to university. And it was then that I found out I'm dyslexic.
Okay.
So stick that, you know what I mean? And everything just went, holy Jesus. My head just exploded and everything just boom, 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 fell into place, you know what I mean? So going back and doing that, I learned so much about myself.
That's incredible.
I got so much. Before I went to uni, I couldn't have sat here and talked to you. I guess I had basically no confidence, you know what I mean? So when you start to look into the mind and look into dyslexia and, you know, neurodiversity and stuff like that, you realize that there's so many things that I did in the past that then I realized that's why I did it. You know what I mean? I always worked my way. I did things my way. You know, I find it very hard working with people, you know. And
I'm the same.
Yeah, it's fantastic, but it fell into place now, and I'm a lot more confident than I was. You know, because I say, I can't do that. What? No, I'm dyslexic. Piss off. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing that. I'll do it my way, or I'll get the wife to do it, basically. You know, so. But that's the whole story. It's about learning who I was and what I could do it my way. You know, that type of thing.
So did you finish uni?
I did. I finished. I got my degree in 2012.
Wow.
And it was tough. Like, you know, I had a 8,000-word dissertation. Jesus, it was like pulling teeth. You know, it was.
Yeah.
I got through it. Now I didn't get. I got a Desmond. You know what a Desmond is? No.
No.
2-2.
No, I mean, I dropped out of school.
Desmond 2-2. You've got a two. So you've got you've got different levels of your degree type things. The guy I got 2, which wasn't great, but it was better than a pass. But
Okay.
it was because of the paperwork side of it. I did really good in the practical side and all that. Anyway.
Yeah.
But the paperwork side was really, really hard to get through. But I got through it, you know, and I came out of it, and it's just given me so much confidence to do what I'm doing now, you know.
That's it, and it's like, you know, like comfort zone in life is just a dangerous place to be, isn't it? You know, you don't like you say, you put yourself out of your comfort zone, you put yourself into a classroom where obviously people were like 20 years younger than you, maybe, you know, and obviously like you forced yourself into a situation that really, like you said, was the best thing that happened. And you know, and that's quite, and like you say, and then you're forced to learn about yourself. I mean, it's like with what I do, you know, with this, like sitting in front of a camera and like talking to people, and then having to listen to myself back, and you know, when I have to edit it and things like that, like you do learn about yourself. But like I just think that really you don't need to be this what society expect for you to achieve great things. I think like the fact that, like you say, you've got dyslexia, that I think it's just a gift. I think it's a gift that obviously if you can control it and channel it and put it in the right places, because what's not better than to have a brain that doesn't look at the world the same way that the rest of the people do. You know, I mean, and I say this a lot, like I say to people, I'm like, and I say this to my missus and my kids, and I'm like, if the way everybody else thinks is so good, why is the world so fucked? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I think it's a gift. I mean, obviously it can cause problems. It can, you know, you can cause you to like look at people a bit like, mate, have a word with yourself, and you know, you a bit more like short fused and like not as patient with people. But then it's like, it seems to be that where you lack in that type of stuff, like where you lack in being able to, you know, read a book in a day, it allows the brain to look at art differently. Like, you notice that a lot of artists have either a learning difficulty or have experienced something quite drastic that would alter the average Joe's life, and it enables them to just become creative, you know.
That's it. You know what? I really believe there's so many people out there that aren't using the skills that they have. You know what I mean? They're stuck in a dead end job. They can't get out of it. They're feeding their families, you know, and there's something inside them eating away at them. And as I say, I was very lucky in a way to be able to get out of the rat race, you know. Now it was tough, really, really, really was tough. And my wife, she was putting the food on the table there. She more or less still does. But you know, for a good 10 years, I was really struggling, you know. And luckily, when you do get that bit older, we paid the mortgage off. The daughter's now out of the house. She's married now out of the house. So, you know, you don't have as much constraints on your money. You know, you have to. So now I can basically just do what I want, you know. And if I sell a mug, that pays for the materials, pays for my diesel, and that's a good place to be. It really is, you know.
That's it, isn't it? And like, you know, if anyone does come across this podcast, and if there's anything that really can be taken out of this, is like, we're all told that we gotta go and get a job and earn all this money and like flat out, and it's like the reality is like, until you have a moment in life where something drastic happens, like obviously you ended up with arthritis and you were in a bit, you know, you had to kind of reevaluate life, which is a drastic thing. You take, like, I have to learn things. I have to go to extreme levels to learn, like, and unfortunately sometimes you're on the border of it going too far, but I'm able to like get to a level and go, hang on a minute, it actually isn't about that, you know. And it's exciting. Like even now, I get it's exciting because like you didn't understand why people wanted to buy your mugs, like all of a sudden why it was going so well, and it's like this unexplainable thing. Like, and that's kind of like the journey that I feel I'm on with what I'm doing, you know. It's like I feel it's got something I just can't explain as to exactly what it is, you know. And the fact that, like, I don't know about you, but like I don't find my journey easy. I mean, I don't know like whether you found making sculptures and things easy or whether, you know.
No, I'm lucky. I seem to see things in my head. I do seem to be very 3D. You know, I can see something in my head, I can go for it type of thing. But
Yeah,
you still have to learn the skill. You know, you start off, and as I say, when I look back at my early stuff, I'm sort of going, oh, God. And I'm now looking at stuff I'm doing now, and I'm going, yeah, I'm happy with that. But I can still push myself, and I'm always still trying to push and push and push. And you can get stuck in a rut very easily. That's actually what I like about meeting you. It was I actually with the KKK. I kept on going over your stall because I had seen.
I remember.
I'd seen you on Instagram. I don't know. I like that guy, and I said, "Oh my, there he is." And KK, I'll go and have a chat. So I was walking around, trying to catch you, and I eventually caught up with you, and so it was great having the chat. But you have to push yourself to go and meet people like you. You know, I could easily sat at my stall, and I would never have met you, and I would never have been doing this. So, oh my God, you know what I mean?
I love it.
Stuff, you know.
I mean, like you're the first person that come over and said like, oh, I follow you on social media. You know, do you know what I mean? And then obviously like back then when I first met you at the Custom Culture Blast Off, like there was no mention of like of a podcast with Jake, who obviously runs it, and with Matt, you know, who's obviously in charge of who runs the panel jam side of it. And then all of a sudden, like, to then get invited and become part of that. Yeah. And then obviously like your name gets mentioned a lot. Do you know what I mean? And obviously like Jake's obviously just managed to get like Gnarly Magazine on board with his podcast. And obviously again, your name was mentioned then, like how, you know, like, oh, we're sure. Like, I'm sure Andrew done something for them. And then obviously we were talking earlier off, like on the phone, like, and you know, we mentioned about it, and you said, yeah, you know, like how you done a giveaway mug for them.
And I was featured in one of the magazines. But same again, it was Instagram. I follow anything I'm interested in. I follow bikes, I follow custom culture, I follow hot rods, and I just sit and look at stuff, and and you have to reach out. You know, there's no point in just sitting there and going, oh no, I can't reach it. And I just sent them an email. How you doing? I love it. Over here making this is what I do. Oh, I'm making this a mug. Okay, brilliant. And that's how it works. You really just have to try, you know, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But it's even getting a chat with people, you know what I mean? And just sitting talking to people is a big buzz. You know, that's where I get the satisfaction from. Somebody bug me and say, I love your work. That just fills me full of, you know, it's great. It really is.
I can imagine as well. I mean, obviously, like, what's it feel like knowing that you've been featured in a magazine, especially like because magazines are they're becoming a dying thing now, you know, and I think they're incredible. I think we need more of them.
It's nuts. I still can't get it. I really don't. It just doesn't sink in. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to work away. And, you know, if I went back to me when I was 20-year-old and say, you know, when you're 57, you're going to be making tiki mugs and being in an American custom culture magazine. What?
Yeah. You know? Behave.
It's mental. It really, really is. Like, it's crazy.
I think it's like, I mean, I must admit, like, I know I've said this loads of times on my podcast before, but like, I never would have thought I'd be putting my face in front of a camera. Sometimes now I think that I'm possibly a bit too much, a bit too much in front of, because, you know, but like, yeah, massively out of my comfort zone. I mean, even now, like, I think I can't remember. I was talking to somebody the other week. I think I was talking to somebody, and I was saying like, they say, you probably find it easy doing videos. I'm like, no, and they're like, well, you seem so like confident. And I literally had I got my phone and I went on to deleted items, and there was just like 10, 15 attempts of that one video, and then I still had some still in my actual album, and I was like, look, I said, you can see, I said there was about 25 attempts of video. I said, I still really struggle. So I find, and they were like, but when you're on your podcast you seem fine. I'm like, I'm talking to somebody, I'm looking at you on the screen, like I'm not thinking, you know what I mean? But like, I'll highlight that. Like I recently did a video and I had the backdrop behind me was like the screenshot of all the deleted videos. And I was like, look, this is like, and I'm like this going like, you see all these here, like this is me attempting to do one video and trying to just inspire somebody else that it's okay to struggle. It just ain't okay to not do it. It ain't okay. Like, you know, I think obviously as men, like this whole thing with like mental health and it's okay not to be okay, it's 100%. But I feel that in the UK, and I've said this loads of times and probably bore people with it, but I feel that the most important bit's missing, where it ain't okay to stay there. Like it is okay to accept that there's a problem. You've already done the hardest bit, saying you've got a problem. You know, you're going through a hard time, but it ain't okay to stay there. And it isn't okay. And it isn't, oh no, you can't be hard on that person. No, let's be honest. It's not okay. It's not okay to stay there. Like, what do you need? What help do you need? Like, and that's kind of like what I'm doing here is like, I struggle as well as a lot of people do. And I don't find doing videos easy. And to be honest, like my content doesn't get a massive reach, and that's okay. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's why the magic is like the fact that I don't find it easy, the fact that my content doesn't have a big reach. It's just keeps reassuring that I'm doing something right, because like, I don't find it easy. The content ain't getting a big reach, but you came over to speak to me and told me you follow me and you live, and you know, and I said earlier overseas, but you're still not, and you're still not on, you know, like you're not local to me and we don't know each other. So it's like, it served its purpose, you know, the fact that like you were, like you said, and again, like going back to like 20 years ago, you wouldn't have come over and said hello. So do you know what I mean? Like things happen for reasons. Do you know? Maybe I'm waffling on a bit too much,
no, it's true. You know, as I say, you're talking about the whole mental health too. See, art, it's probably what you're doing too. You know, it's exactly what you do is the exact same thing as what I do. No matter anything to do with creative, anything at all, it's exactly the same thing. You know, people who write songs, poetry, custom car builders, car bike builders, anybody that works with their hands, works with their head. Your head working your hands, basically, you get the same satisfaction out of it. You know, you'll get the same satisfaction out of doing a video. I'm struggling as I do about getting a mug. I've got hundreds of mugs sitting up in my studio that I'm not happy with, which I wouldn't sell. You know, because I don't want people to see them, but they're still there, and I look at them every now and again and go, I've got better than that. So you're pushing yourself to get better, and that helps your mental health.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's and that, you know, that's the thing. It's like obviously just trying to find that balance. You know, trying to keep it real and try to just look like progress, and you know, and I think obviously where the magic comes in is the fact that like sometimes the magic is that it's just unexplainable, but obviously when people start to see it, you know, it's when they start to see like what you're doing, like, and they start to mention like, do you know what, it's like it's cool, and you know, do you know what I mean?
It's nuts. I still, it's surreal. Probably it's the whole, you know, it's like living in this some kind of movie, like Kookietiki. He's my sort of alter ego. You know, it's quite good having a name. You know what I mean? You know, most people don't.
It's cool. The name's cool as hell. Yeah, Kookietiki. I think it's well cool.
Well, you know, I've always been known as Cookie anyway, you know, type of thing. So I stuck the K on it for the custom culture side of it, and then because I was sort of doing tiki mugs. But see, lately, we were talking about the whole Instagram thing too. You know, lately I've really noticed it dropping off.
Yeah.
Trying to get the reach to people, trying to get out to people. It's, you know, like before there last year, I was putting mugs on that were gone overnight. You know, now you look at how many people have seen it, and it's like, you know, 200 people seen it. You know,
Yeah.
I've got 4,000 followers or whatever. You know, so I'm starting to get a bit worried about that. So that's why I want to try to get the likes of the shows, KKK, whatever. I'm trying to get a wee bit more local. You know, UK, Ireland, even Europe's tough too now. You know, but I'm starting to think I need to try to change a bit. You know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, you know, you travelled all the way over from Ireland, to, you know, to the Custom Culture Blast Off show, and you know, and that's exactly why, like, Jake had thought of the idea of doing a podcast, because obviously it's like, what other way to keep, because obviously a show might only last 2 or 3 days, and then it's got the rest of the year where it's kind of stagnant. But at the end of the day, like with the Custom Culture Blast Off, obviously it's very much focused around art in everything. You know, obviously we spoke about this on the first 2 episodes of it, and we're all very much aware that, like, you guys deserve, you've earned, you know, you put all this time and things into what you guys create, and you might only get to show it off at a handful of shows and Instagram, which Instagram is obviously, it's incredible, and Facebook is incredible when they're used correctly. But however, like, by doing a podcast, it's more personal. It's actually somebody speaking to somebody, like, you know, whether you get someone on the show as a guest or on a video call like this, video podcast. And it's just about highlighting, like, what everybody does, and obviously keeping people interested in next year's show, and, you know, whatever plans they come up with.
I'm really excited about it, because before I call it the plague, the whole COVID thing, I was at a couple of the old KKKs, you know, time I think, so I took stuff over, and I got to meet people, and I've met them again this year, and Paul, a lot of the pinstripers and stuff and everything, and I enjoy that side of it as much as trying to sell stuff. I don't, when I bring stuff over from here to shows, I'm not expecting to make a profit, if you know what I mean. Yeah. If I cover the cost of the boat and the diesel, I'm well pleased. You know, it's more of a social interaction type thing. You know what I mean? That's me for the year. You know, I'm just buzzing for the whole. Once I leave them shows, I'm just going, oh, it's flipping brilliant. You know, meeting. You know what I mean? It's amazing. You know, it's weird. You sort of feel you're in a bit of a club. If you know what I mean. You know, now I feel as if I'm sort of in that special wee club, which is really cool. You know, I'm from Belfast, where it's only 28 miles from Belfast to Scotland, so it's nothing. But it can feel like, you know, from here to America sometimes. You know, you still have to get a boat, you have to travel down there. So there's a lot of distance there, you know. So when you start to be friendly with people and meet them every year, it's really good. You know, it's really good to keep it going.
Absolutely, and obviously, you know, some people spend all year stuck in a workshop, and then obviously the shows and listening to podcasts. You know, like that's their way to feel like they're still connecting with people. And I mean, like, I know, like, Jake had mentioned that I think you'd messaged him, and obviously something on the lines of when you'd heard yourself being mentioned, and like, I mean, I said to Jake, like, you know, people do care about that. You know, they care that they're being acknowledged, you know, for what they're, because obviously you're not looking for it, but if it does get if you do get mentioned and you get acknowledged, and it only takes 2 seconds to mention someone, but what it can do to them, how it can make them feel, will stay with them for a long time. Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant. But there's not a lot of people doing this, really, when you think about it. If you look at the population, how many people are actually out there making art? Especially custom culture art, motorcycle art. It is quite small. It's not mainstream by any means. So, the more publicity, the more podcasts, the more shows we can get going, and as Jake and all said, get a hub for it in the UK. It would be great. You might even start to get guys from Europe and all coming over. So
yeah.
It would be brilliant to see it grow in their proper art show. They're really a hub for people that have the same ideas just to come there every year. It'd be great to see it.
Yeah, exactly, and obviously because it's already happening in America. I mean, there are shows in America that have their own podcasts and that, but it doesn't. I'm not saying there isn't any in the UK or Europe. I'm not saying there isn't, and if there is, obviously, they need to obviously let us know there are, and by all means, we'll tag them, reach out to them, and because that's what I think this is all about. I think it's all about helping each other. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm quite lucky that I just get to create content. I haven't got the stresses of relying on what I do to pay my bills, because obviously I've got a full-time job. But then, to me, selfishly, what I get out of it is the idea in my head that somebody might listen to one of my podcasts and go, fucking hell, oh, let's click on this guy's Instagram. It's like, oh shit, how fucking cool is these mugs? Do you know what? I want one of them. Or do you know what? I've been looking for someone to make me a set of something. That's what I get out of this. It's the idea that knowing that I can help somebody. And I'm not saying I have, or I'm not saying that it will, but that's what I tell myself. It's I get to speak to people. I don't shut up anyway, and it's just, why not? I found that because like a lot of people financially might not be able to travel to all these really cool shows around the world, and or even build bikes, and kind of really, it was, for me, it was just this is what I want to do. It's originally 666 Customs was put together on the idea of me just attempting to build shit, it very much on the attitude of my videos that I have got, and they're not being released yet, but my videos are not how to, that my attitude is watch me attempt not to fuck up. Yeah. It's not, there is no, I'm teaching nobody, because I haven't even taught myself, but it's to inspire somebody to have a go. And then I say to the pros, I'm look, don't ignore somebody like me that's trying to inspire these people, because at the very worst, they're going to come to you anyway. They're going to cut something up and it's going to go wrong, which is perfectly fine and acceptable. And then they're going to come to you and go, look, I've attempted to do this. It's gone wrong. Can you help me? And a lot of people see that and respect that and can understand that, and then obviously, to be fair, the ones that don't, which again are very, very few, they're kind of I'm learning now, I'm not listening to what you're saying. I'm listening to what you're not saying, and the fact that they might go, oh, okay, or blah, blah, blah. And it's well, I get that's really not what you're saying, you know what I mean? It's you just kind of, I don't know, really, I'm probably waffling on it too much, but
it's the way you're talking to me, it's you're learning by doing, you learn by actually doing the work. You know what I mean? If you get it wrong, then you do it right the next time. You know what I mean? That's the best way I think you can learn, really. I say, especially with ceramics and stuff, it is quite technical. It can be a complete nightmare sometimes. I remember one time I put a glaze on that didn't fit the clay, and I spent I have a big kiln. It would take a month to fill it. And so I would have worked away, made all the mugs, put it in, and it was a complete balls up. Like I was near stringing myself up, just ruined about a month's of work, about a month work. So now I've bought a small kiln, and I would maybe fire 5 mugs at a time. Something goes wrong, you've only lost 5 mugs. I learned that because of my mistake, So that's what it's all about. You're. I think what you're doing is great because you are showing people out there that there's other people that are doing things them, if you know what I mean. That type of thing. And it's not. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in not being able to do something. There's no shame. Like people say, "Oh, I can't paint." Well, you can't paint. You know what I mean? You just can't paint the way that other guy paints.
Yeah.
So it's all about that too. Don't do something if you think you're not going to do it good.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just try something. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've had it like where obviously I'm lucky that part time I get to tattoo. I tattoo a couple of days a week, and I get people say to me, "Oh, I can't draw." I'm like, "Yeah, you can." Yeah. And they're like, "No." I said, what you're forgetting is art is whatever you perceive it to be, and obviously, if a stick drawing is what you can draw, who's to say it's not art?
Exactly.
And that's like, that's what I mean. Like, obviously we all create stuff like hoping that people are going to like it, hoping that like when you put stuff out there in shows and that you are looking for someone to go, that's cool. Like, and people that go, oh, I don't give a fuck and all that. It's like, be honest, you do. Otherwise you wouldn't have done it. Like, you wouldn't have sat and spent all that time, money, whatever, to create something if you're not looking for someone to go, I like that.
Exactly. No, that's it. Yeah. I'll tell you something. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, why don't you tattoo?" I go, "Why is up? I'm dyslexic. Could you imagine me tattooing things? Jesus Christ, the spelling would be terrible. You can't rub it out, Yeah.
I could try to rub it out. Oh shit!
I stick to paint and clay. You know what I mean? You can get rid of your mistakes easy enough type of thing. But no, it's just it's enthusiasm. You need to keep that spark, or you'll just fade away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I say a lot to my missus. Like, I say to her, like, I hope people see how much this really, like, how much I really love this. Like, because I do think I come across quite scatty with it and like full of it because like I love it. Like, it's. I love the custom culture. See, I love bikes. I love tattoos. It's like, and I've said to people, like, I haven't just woken up one day and just thought I like bikes. Like, I've grown up around bikes. I've grown up around the MC culture. I've grown up around this world. I said, what I did do one day is I woke up and I went, do you know what? I've just got to move out of my way. Like I always had these excuses as to why I wouldn't put my face in front of a camera and there's all, like, we've all got excuses to not do stuff. And like, I wouldn't film in the shed because the shed roof's knackered, but it was just like, just have a go. Like, do you know what I mean? That's what else is there? Like, at the end of the day, like, one day you're not going to be able to physically do anything anyway, old age or whatever. And, just why would you really want to live like that?
Well, that's it too. You're trying. Even I'm sure there's loads of people out there want to do podcasts, and they're going, "No, I can't do that." And maybe look at you, and they go, "Oh, I'll give it a go." And same as what I do. Like, you get boys that have worked in a trade their whole life. Maybe they've had to give up work. That's where you need to be very careful. You could hit the drink, you could hit something else, and you have nothing in your life anymore. You need to have that dream, that slight push. Like, I'm up and down. Don't think about there's some weeks where I just don't want to do anything, or else. And then there's weeks where I'm starting to get my sort of buzz back again. You know what I mean? My head's going somewhere. My head's going here, and you just sit and do nothing. But you really. Like lately, you see the tortoise thing I did with the helmet.
Yeah, that's cool.
I had to get away from the mugs a bit, because the mugs are okay, but see, when you're doing the same one over and over again, it gets a bit tedious. Sometimes I just say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to get back into the helmets, and just see what I can do with them. I had this idea in my head, the wee tortoise.
Yeah.
That's just pure sculpture. There's no reason to that. There's no whatever to it. It's just an idea I had in my head, and I had the best couple of days. I just chilled out, and it was brilliant. It wasn't about, I have to have this perfect to sell. I just said, right, I'm just going to do this for my own peace of mind, get this idea out of my head, and I've took videos of it. And that's something else I'm trying to learn. iMovie. So I'm trying to edit videos. I've never edited video in life before. So I've been sitting trying to edit videos, and I'm going, but I don't care. I'm going to bang it on YouTube.
That's it.
No.
That's it. I mean, we've got so Jake's popped in the into the comment section, and he's asking you, are you going to tiki up the bar at the KKBO?
No problem. I'd love to. Definitely. So, I'll have to actually be thinking about, because we're talking there about planning for next summer. Tell them I have to get I've got my trade my trade money to go to him, to the form to fill in. I've been able to get it out to him.
Oh, well, he can hear you. He's tuned in live now. He can hear you.
I've got it out now, but I was asking. I forget what I was asking, some question about or something. So I'll get it sorted out. Tell him next week. But yeah, I'm trying to get. We like to go over for maybe 2 weeks in the old camper. You've seen the van I have now.
Yeah.
So we like to try to go over for 2 weeks around about maybe August. Maybe do the Nationals or Super Nats or something like that, and hopefully get enough out of that to pay for that. And then September, the time we were there, it was quite tight. We left on a Wednesday or something, and then went back on the Monday. So I wouldn't mind to try to make it a bit longer this time, That would be good, have a wee bit more time over there. But yeah, I'd love to. There's a few other people, if you want, I could try to put the word around it. Because there's a couple of carvers and all, so they might be interested, to do something.
Yeah, and that's obviously like what he's trying to do, isn't it? We like we were saying earlier. Obviously, he's tuned in now. We've already spoke loads about what Jake's doing with the KKBO podcast as well as the show, and I think that's it. And it's about just creating a massive community. Of like-minded people, cars, bikes, sculptures, painters, pinstripes, airbrush artists, everything can just create a community that people can tune into monthly, and then obviously everyone can meet up once a year at the show, and that's
there is a tiki community here that are looking for something like that. They had I had Trade Effects in London, and it was closed down a couple of years ago. But it's the tiki bar culture is, how you going to say it? It's a whole different thing from the sort of the artists sitting there making mugs, if you know what I mean. It's more of a social interaction with the drinks and the cocktails and all that type of stuff. So, but I think we could maybe make it almost different from the American one, if you know what I mean. They have there's a tiki oasis in California every year. If you look it up, it's crazy. There's thousands of people go to this thing. They have market stalls. That's why I was saying about the idea about getting a gallery, an art gallery. And usually we're talking about doing the Universal Monsters. They have a theme of a year where an artist comes along and does a piece of work, and then that goes into the gallery, So that's the whole idea to it. So listen, you could make this something really, really special here. It could be really cool.
And that's what I think. That's what I think. Everyone that's involved, across all of it, not just the show, as well as the podcast and everything. I think, and obviously we use the reference of Gnarly Magazine becoming a sponsor. If people like them are getting involved, they see it. So it's not just in Europe. It's the fact that also saying, because like me and Jake were talking about it last night on the phone, it was like, at the end of the day, what is it you're going to do for a show that a trader's going to come to it? You know, because there's so many incredible shows out there, and you know, you kind of like, you kind of got to say, like, if a trader dropped you a message and said, why am I going to come to your show instead of that show? Or, you know, realistically, I can't really justify going to that show. And you can go, well, we got these people involved, and like, it's on the other side of the world as well. And that's not, you know what I mean? That's what it's about. And it's just about helping everybody. And, you know, I think it's cool. I think it's really cool.
The likes of me now, I would only do, you know, 1 or 2 shows a year. You know, I don't rely on shows, but the likes of Ian Guy, he started, you know, that's his life, you know, and Mandy, that's their life. They just do the circuit. So there is a lot of shows that overlap and stuff too, you know, so you need to make it stand out that that everybody knows this is the custom culture art show, more so that, you know, the cars that I heard he's talking about, the cars are all part of it now. But you know, get it almost high end, you know, get it up there with art, which it is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you've also got that social stigma type thing going on with art, you know, which I'm not a big fan of. You know, the highbrow and the lowbrow and all that nonsense type of thing. So it'd be great to take it up, you know, the likes of like Robert Williams in California. You know, he shoots stuff in galleries, and it's amazing, like what it could be. You know, what it could be, but it could be something special. You know,
that's it, and it's, you know, I think obviously what's so cool about being so open, like around, obviously, like for me, obviously I do the Let's Talk Motorcycle podcast, and I'll interview people. Obviously, I know it's called the Let's Talk Motorcycle podcast, but obviously we've been talking about bikes, and I talk about people that are creating cool shit, like really, and then obviously I've been lucky enough to be invited to become part of another podcast, which is incredible, you know, and the fact that you get to actually sit down in a room with like-minded people, and just like we were talking earlier on the phone, like I listened to the podcast on Spotify the other day. I had quite a drive, and I was in the car for about an hour, and it's just so easy listening. There's a lot of laughter, and like, you know, there's a bit of like cheesiness to it, you know, but there's still an element of seriousness, and I think there's just a really good balance around what, you know, what's going on with that show. And then obviously, like for me with season 2 of my show, it's, you know, like I was lucky enough to do the first episode with Lloyd, and I got to get into Lloyd's garage, and like, I mean, that's so incredible. Like I was sat in a garage, and there's like 5 custom bikes, like not one of them engines is younger than me. A knucklehead engine sat in a hardtail frame, and you know, there was like, you know, the bike that's called the Prawn, that's very known across the scene. It's a pink hardtail shovel head with tiger stripes on it, it's known as the Prawn bike. And like Lloyd is an incredible fabricator, award winning, won like the 101 show down in Margate, you know, has a waiting list for people that want bikes building, and like I was just so chuffed the fact that somebody like me, who's sat in a corner of my front room, that's just like waffling on for like hours with people, that's now being invited into people's spaces. Do you know what I mean? Into their personal space, you know. And
it's the same with me being invited on to this with you. Hang on, what? Why? You know, why does he want to talk to me? You know, it's crazy. You know, but I love it. You're talking about bike too. Like, I love the bikes. I love anything engineering. That's what I am. I'm a metal worker. You know, I'm a welder.
Yeah.
So I get as much pleasure out of sitting doing a nice MIG weld than as doing pottery, you know, ceramics type of thing. It's exactly the same thing. If you're building a bike, if you're building a car, if you're building a wall, it's exactly the same thing. You have that hand-eye coordination. You just drift away. You learn how to do it. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. You know, it really is. Yeah.
I think what I respect massive, not only like what you put out is fucking incredible anyway, but what I respect and admire, like what I find really inspiring of you is that you've been honest with yourself and gone, well, look, I physically cannot keep doing what I was doing in this scene. In the, obviously, when you were creating cool, like, because there's some pictures of some of your cars on your Instagram page, and like they're fucking cool as fuck. Like it's,
Well,
but you've been honest with yourself and gone, look, I physically can't do that, but what can I do for the scene? Very much like I have, and it's like I haven't got a fucking fancy workshop, and I don't have a huge budget, and I'm not creating a shit ton of content in my shed because I'm literally unable to for various reasons. But like I've been honest and gone, well, I can do this. I can do this for the scene, and I think that takes a lot because typically when you think, oh, custom culture scene, you're generally thinking off the top of your head, like you're pinstriping on some fucking lowrider or like some Model A or Model T. You know what I mean? You're doing like this proper stuff that everyone kind of expects, but that isn't the whole set. That isn't the big picture. There is so much to the picture. And it takes something, especially when you're able to create this, like go and fabricate a one-off hot rod. I know I'm waffling on it, but I hope like you get where I'm coming from. Like this fact that you like realize that I can still create cool shit in the scene, and it's ceramics. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. Well, that's it. I don't know if you've seen. I have a '50 Chevy. I've had
Yeah, I
this.
think there's a picture of it on your
Yeah, I've had
Instagram. I think.
for 20 years, and I'm only got it sort of properly painted last summer. I took a couple of months off and said, right, I'm getting this thing painted. But I've chopped it, I've two-doored it, it's all the tricks, everything in it. I'm still not finished. I'll probably never be finished. It's like bike builders, anybody that builds anything, it's never finished. You know what I mean? You're always looking at it going, oh, I have to do that, I have to change that, I'll do that. But that's how would you call it? That's my other part of my life that I still have is the bike, the cars and the bikes too. So I get my TY out, my dirt bikes out every now and again, and it's great. We've a couple of fields and stuff around near us, and that's a whole other diversion, sort of escapism type thing, But we need it. We need it in this world, That's what's going bloody nuts on it.
Oh, it's going crazy. It is.
So it's all, no matter what you do, it's escapism. It's just getting away from the crap that's going on in the world. So the more people doing stuff like you, more people doing stuff like me, this is real to me. It's not, everything else out there is not real. It's just kind of crazy film going on in the background type of thing.
Well, that's it. Like we said earlier, if what everyone else was doing was so right, why is the world so fucked? That's the truth with it, isn't it? It's so. I mean, have you? Where's the furthest out you've been to a show? Then?
I went to. There was a guy, Simon Pollock, the pinstripers will know him very well in the funniest. I knew him pretty well about, let me see, 15 years ago. There's a guy over here, Paul, brought him over, and I did a pinstriping course for him. Never really followed it on because I found I have a broken bone here with a motorbike crash, so I can't find it very hard getting certain angles. But he got me into the Flatlands show in the Netherlands.
Oh wow!
Just before the pandemic, that was fantastic. And I did the Custom Culture Forever show in Germany.
Yeah, that's it. I believe. I think that's the biggest custom culture show in Europe. I think, isn't it? It was because there was a comment on one of the, I think it was Spotify or something. Someone had put a comment because Matt had said that we believe it's possibly the biggest show that that Jake's doing, and someone had put this massive essay, putting him right. It's not,
No, it's this thing's next level, I've got that. I don't know if you see my camper van. Like, it's a 1985. It's a Winnebago, but it's based on the old Reynolds Traffic. And I've nailed it together over the years, and it's like a wing and a prayer. You take off and you hope the hell it's going to make it there. So me and the wife and the van was packed full of my work, But we just had it and away we went, and it was amazing. What an adventure. And the bikes, the cars, jeez, it's mind blowing. It really is. But tell you the truth, the atmosphere was I found it was a bit clicky, if you know what I mean. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
I found the KKK because I knew the people. I didn't know the people there, you know what I mean? And there was language, probably differences and stuff too. So I met a couple of, in the camp, like I met a couple of really, really cool people. I was actually beside, there's a guy, you would know his work, I forget, I'm terrible with names. There's a Bry One, he's from Spain. He does the likes of crazy resin work. You would know his work, like he does like rat fangs and all this stuff. I was beside him. I had my wee ceramic setup beside this guy, and I'm going, shit.
Wow.
This guy, I mean, next level, like, he's unbelievable. And I met some brilliant people. I met a German guy, got me going a lot, and did a lot of work for him. So going to shows is really, really important. It really is important too. It's only a matter of meeting one person, and that's it. He'll get you here, he'll get you there, type of thing. But it's a holiday too. It's great. I have the camper there, and I just threw all the stuff in the camper van, and away we go. Brilliant fun.
Yeah, that sounds. I mean, the idea of like traveling like to a show like across some, what was that, 2-3 days to get there?
Yeah, down to Stranraer, down to Stranraer, down to Hull to Rotterdam, and then up there. And I had the wee Dax 90 strapped onto the back of the camper at the time.
Oh, wicked.
That was good crack, so driving around the canals and everything.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And it was a show that took me there. It was Custom Culture show that took me there, and I would never have done it. So it would be nice to do something more like that, but it gets expensive,
Yeah.
And it's more expensive. It really is since the whole COVID. Everything's just crazy.
Everything's just got, I think, and obviously Brexit and all that shit. It's I think now it's people are just throwing numbers out there. It's that's what that costs now. That's what this costs, and it's ridiculous.
Half the money is just an excuse for people to print money. A lot of people are very, very rich.
Which obviously, while we're on that subject, actually, because obviously that it was you that posted something last week. I think you'd posted it, and then Nick Scumbag had seen it, and then Matt had seen it. So like, what is? Because I've still not. I've got a gist of what's going on, but like, have you got a better understanding of what?
We're different, as I say. Northern Ireland's still part of the UK. Brexit, but because of the whole shitstorm over here, there was an agreement that we stayed in the European marketplace or something like that. I'm no expert on whatever, but we still have to abide by UK rules and all this crap. So I can actually post stuff to Europe without customs or anything like that. We can't anymore. If you're in GB, you have to get custom forms and all this crap. But we're now having real issues with getting supplies from UK or from GB, the mainland. There's so many like eBay traders or whatever like that. I would get a lot of stuff, especially for the car too. And lately we've been seeing them just not post in Northern Ireland. It's too much hassle. They're just making it. You have to get like this EORI number and trusted trader crap, and they're just making it so hard for a small person to sell stuff now online to Europe and Northern Ireland, because Northern Ireland is more or less classed the same as Europe. So you can sell stuff. We actually have stuff now in our supermarkets that says on it, they have to put it on it, not to be sold within EU. So Tesco's and all bring the stuff over here. You know what I mean? We have exactly the same shops now. But that's not allowed to go down south. So they stick these big stickers on them not to be sold in Europe. It's just so complicated. I really just don't know the whole ins and outs. It's all paperwork. And that extra paperwork puts on extra costs to small businesses. And that's the problem. And they're just saying, no, I can't be, I can't be asked.
Yeah, I mean, and what are they getting out of it? Like what are they getting out of it? It just to me it seems to be that they all wanted their cake and eat it, and they're not getting it, so they're sulking. It's very, very fucking childish, and unfortunately, it's affecting people's lives in the middle. Like, you know, mortgages, bills, family, kids that needed to eat. You know, people like yourself that are literally creating and obviously earn money from whatever it is you're creating. Like, why? Like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. And you know, I mean, like I say, even Jake was saying like the other day, like I think the flag that Gnarly magazine sent, it was there at his house like 3 days from where is it? I can't remember where about. Pennsylvania, I think they're based. Pennsylvania, and it was there in 3 days.
Well, I send stuff to the States. It takes just under a week, and sometimes I send stuff to England, and it a lot longer. You know, you see it sitting, you know, your tracking number, it's sitting on such and such here, such and such. It's a nightmare. Like I sent a helmet to one of the ceramic helmet. It was pretty cool. It was that was nice too. That was nice. I have a wee shop, like a big cartel. I use big cartel. I used to use Etsy. I found that got very difficult to use. There's an awful lot of. It was just complicated, you know. Big cartel. It's so easy, PayPal, whatever. But I got an email from this guy, Austria, Vienna, and I thought it was spam. I really did. I thought that's a spam, you know what I mean? That's got some guy trying to, you know, English wasn't quite good, you know, it was a bit broken. He said we're like researching the ceramic handles for a retirement present. That's spam. I waited a wee while and I replied to him. I come back and started chatting away to him. Yeah, it was legit. Like, it was a big firm, Vienna, and they were chipping together to get this guy a retirement present for he was a biker. He was a big lifetime biker type thing. So I did one of my helmets with the goggles and all on it, and put their names all on the back of it. And I shipped it last week. And it was a bit nuts. Like, I had to go pretty hard to get it done because I needed it soon.
Yeah.
You know, but I got it done. They seemed really pleased with it. No, but it's crazy. Like, that's just from having a shop. How the hell did he see that in Vienna? You know, it's crazy. You know, so but I can ship to Europe quite easily.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's complicated. It's going to get harder. I think coming up in December, the rules are going to change a lot. Which
is it the 6th of December? It gets triggered or something.
He's going to have trouble just posting stuff to Europe. You have to prove that it's been made and it conforms to safety and all this crap. You know, it's crazy. You know, I don't know where it's going.
It is, and the thing is, it's like it's not funny. Like, it's like there's just some fat fucking retards sat in these buildings with that. Oh mate, and that's the thing. Like, that's what it does my head in. Like, the idea of some people just don't think like, and you know, and that's what we were saying earlier. Like, you got to go to uni and get educated and all this and all that, and it gives you the right to make decisions on the average Joe's life. Like, no, not for me, not for me.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. That the best thing I did the foundation, which is more teaching. See, the uni, like, just a big sausage factory. You know, it's just churning. Yeah. I learned bugger all. Really, I learned a few things. It gave me a bit of confidence, all that type of thing. But yeah, it's a business. That's all it is.
Oh yeah, no, but obviously it's different. Like, you went to uni to learn about actually physically doing something, like creating something. You didn't go there to get a degree to think that you can, like, I'm now fully qualified and chatting a load of shit. Like, you know, that's not what. Do you know what I mean? Because it's
I think too. Is there a social thing going on with it? I don't know. Like, I found over here when I came out, I was trying to get, you know, I did a few galleries and stuff with the helmets, with the motorbike helmets. I do have a context about them. It's all about, you know, being fragile and all this type of stuff. I had a whole context for all this thing, and honestly, a lot of the shows I had, people just thought, "Oh, the motorbike helmets." You know, they didn't have that connection with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they didn't ride bikes. You know that they were out of that whole circle. You
Yeah.
know, they went the. It's just not. They just don't talk the same. They just don't.
No.
I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm waffling a bit too.
No, that's it, mate. I think, like, you know, like I've said it a few times, like when people have ever asked, like, why'd you ride a bike? It's dangerous. And like, I always say to people, I mean, that have ever asked it, I'm like, the very fact that you have to ask is the reason why you never understand. And they're like, well, what do you mean? It's like, well, that's exactly what I mean. It's like, I'm not being funny, but don't you not know that we know that we risk our lives? Like, at the end of the day, like, I'm a massive believer in, like, I think that you're never more alive than when you're on the edge. You know, like, the fact is, you could only, even if you're plodding down the road at 60 mile an hour, like, you can get wiped out by a car and it's all done. Or, you know, there could be a mechanical failure on the bike and you're done. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's like we're living in a world where all we're doing is just doing as we're told and fucking existing. Like, no, you've got to feel alive. And if that's what you need to do to jump on a bike or do you know what I mean? If that's your thing, that's your thing. And, you know, that's kind of interesting with, I think I've got it in my head now with this, literally the piece you put up today. Like, what is the meaning for the tortoise? Is it? Can I say what I think? And I'm sorry to like. Is it to do with, like, I feel that obviously you get a little bit older, you're slowing down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you're feeling a little bit more like a bit slowy and creaky, like with the arthritis, for example. Like, is that what it is?
It's sort of to do that. It has got the slow down thing. It has got the slow down. There's a thing I follow too called slow craft. Have you heard of slow food? There's a slow food movement. There's a slow craft movement. It's basically about doing stuff the best you can possibly do it. It's not about banging it out, getting it done. There's a whole philosophy about it. There's a book. You should read it. Zen and what is it? Zen, the art of motorcycle mechanics or something like that. I'm trying to remember, but it's a famous book, you know, and it's basically about you trying to do the best that you possibly can, you know. So the whole thing about it is just slowing down, taking your time to learn stuff, that type of thing. You know what I mean? It's people can take whatever they want to, you know. But it's just like the idea of a tortoise.
I mean, I think it's cool as hell. I think it is cool as hell.
Yeah, I just thought, really said it'll be really nice when it's finished. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the lid yet. I might actually try a bit of pinstriping on it because I got some brushes at the show. So
okay.
I can use on the glazes and fire them on, and also I'm thinking about maybe doing a bit of pinstriping or something on the helmet or something. You know, bring in that side of it. You know, have you
got an art style in mind for the actual lid itself?
I don't know yet. I'm not too sure. I don't know really what to do. I was thinking maybe if I was actually thinking maybe doing it like a tortoise shell, you know, carving in, or full on custom, just a custom lid, you know, nice pinstriping or something like that. Or
you could do both.
Yeah, I used to make an awful lot of helmets with the Easy Rider, the red, white, blue. I've done quite a few of them, you know, and I used to melt beer bottle glass into the lenses, and then when you fire it, the glass drips down, you know, so it looks pretty cool. It's all about it is an awful lot about getting older. It really is, you know. Like, I can't do stuff that I used to do when I was young, you know. Like, I was pretty bit nuts, like, when I was a kid, you know what I mean, like teenager. Like, some of the stories we get there. I had an old van since I was about 18. I had the bike first, then I had a van with big wide wheels, purple, you know, porthole windows and all this crap, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Awesome.
Sometimes we had, but no, it is about getting older, you know, and just losing that. What do you call it? I don't know. Just losing that sort of zest, if you know what I mean. But it's still there. That's the problem. It's still in your
Yeah.
head. Your body might want to do what you used to do, but it's everything's still in your head, you know.
Well, that's it, innit? It's
Yeah.
you know, it's about just trying to find a balance in it. It's obviously not giving up because then you give up,
Yeah.
and then also not accepting. You know, like you got to try and find that middle ground. I mean, I got a friend who's like he's 77 years old. He still goes boxing every Wednesday, and he gets gets upset that he's like, oh, I can't fucking jump on the bike like I could, and and I'm like, look, mate, I'm like, how many 77-year-old men are still training like every Wednesday? Like he's got he's got a dodgy ticker and he's still fucking going. It's like, hat off to you, like honestly.
Yeah, no, you do. You have to just push yourself to do the best that you can every day. You know, and if you don't, that's the problem. You know, that's when you start to go downhill. You know,
Absolutely, and obviously, like and it's okay to have a day that you don't do anything.
Yeah,
it is okay, and it's okay to have a week that you don't do anything.
Exactly.
But going back to what I said earlier, like it ain't okay to stay there. It ain't okay. That day turns. It isn't okay that day turns into a month. It's okay that day turns into a week, a few days, but it ain't okay to turn into a month because a month then turns into half a year, then a year. Then you're talking big time. There's a lot of wasted time that you could have achieved something. But a day to a week. Yeah, okay. You're feeling a bit under the weather. You're feeling a bit down. Something's gone wrong.
Well, I don't do. If you've seen inside of my studio, I've got an old wood burner and all this type of stuff. And every afternoon, I stick my feet up, maybe have a wee nip, a wee kip. You know what I mean? Like, so it's great working on your own. There's nobody there telling you that.
Yeah, you got to get back to work.
Get back to work. I know. I have a good life after that. You know what I mean? I might not have the money to go out and do what a lot of people have, but I've got that time of a good family and everything, so everything's pretty good,
Yeah, that's it, innit? And I think personally, for me, I feel that the biggest challenge is finding balance. Like, I think even with chasing success, with whether it be for me social media, or whether it be for you making more and more cool sculptures, I think the balance is then the biggest challenge is where do you fit family in, friends, social. You've got to, and that I personally believe is the biggest challenge. Like, it's trying to balance stuff. It's I mean, obviously. It makes it easier. Like, obviously, if you, like for you, for example, you're in the workshop creating all these cool sculptures and mugs and everything you're doing with ceramic. It makes it easier when you are able to tell them, so to put food on the table and to carry on progressing. So when the missus goes, well, you've been in the garage all week, and you can go, yeah, but this is what we've heard. This is what we're doing. It's like for me, it's kind of a bit the other way at the moment. I just have to keep saying, like, my missus doesn't give me a hard time over it, but I'm like, just bear with me. Like, this is gonna become something, and it's gonna put food on the table eventually, and my goal is to replace my full-time job with what I do with content and, with my whole 666 Customs adventure. It's now a registered company. It's a limited company now. And I'm in the process of having my website built. Because going back to like what you said earlier with social media, like because all I do is put content out and share content, like I became very, very aware of what Meta, that own Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, are doing. It's very, very much aware of that, and I figured that it just made sense to just take on my own thing. And create a platform that people are going to be able to come to and interact on, write blogs on, and without all the shit, like without all the nonsense. And
you're sort of tied you think that social media are doing you a favor. They're not. They're not doing you a favor. You know what I mean? They're there for you to do them a favor. It wasn't for us, people, content. There wouldn't be social media. You
Yeah.
know, that's what they have to realize too. You know, they have to realize that it's like guys going to a car show. If there's no guys bringing their cars, there's not going to be a car show. You know,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that like going back again to like obviously like what Jake's done with the podcast, like I think people like us are very much aware of it. Like obviously like yourself, like, you know, I reached out to you. I was like, oh yeah, you know, my guest is fallen on my guest already had like on the show was she's fallen unwell, and you know, like, would you be able to like help me out? And like, you know, like you know that like obviously, well, Josh is trying to do this, and like, and at the end of the day, it might get me a customer. Like it's, you know, it works both, you know, help each other out. It's like, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Is you always get them wet wipes to go, oh, you're just trying to use somebody. It's like, no, like we both get to have a really cool chat, and obviously someone hopefully will discover you through listening to this episode of this podcast, and you know, it's what it's about, I think.
that's it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That is so. Like obviously, so for people that want to order something from you, or even just reach out and get like buy something that you've already made, what is the best way for people to get hold of you?
Well, I say I got my Instagram. Just Kookietiki, basically Instagram, Facebook. My shop is kookietiki.art, so you'll see a lot of stuff on there. But as I say, I would love to really start doing more of the motorcycle type inspired art, the bigger sculptural type work. So that's like next year, say at the show, I would love to bring over some really special stuff. You know, maybe do more commission type special work, maybe more, you know, retirement gifts, that special stuff. You know what I mean? Real,
Yeah.
what people can really appreciate it. The mugs are great, you know, they definitely are, you know, they're good, but they're more of a production type thing. And for me to go next level, I would need to start to employ somebody, and you know, get them to do the manual, you know, the casting and whatever, and I do the painting, working on it. I just don't want to go down that route. You know, I want to keep bespoke, sort of high end sculptural stuff. You know, so I'd love to get more into that end of the gallery.
Yeah, exactly, and I think obviously like that's probably part of it, is to try and get more into, I'm guessing, more into like art museums, like more high end stuff, as well as the custom culture scene as well. And
well, that's it. You know what it's like. There's a lot of guys out there. You know, they're into their bikes. They're wealthy. They're that's the type of guy I'm after. You know what I mean? Somebody who wants to support the artist too, and they know that they get to know you and stuff. And like you look at the States, you do hashtag motorcycle art. You know, it's a whole other sort of avenue of artwork, you know, to do with the bikes, to do with the car type stuff. So I would like to maybe try to get more into that. Even, you know, I would love to get into bronze casting. You know, I would really like to get into that too, you know, from the ceramics, from the sculpture, start to maybe cast bronzes and stuff, which would be next level, you know. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Is that something you're looking to start doing, or?
I would love to. I did a bit of bronze casting in uni. It's expensive. That's the problem.
Right.
You know, it's a whole other level type thing. But you know, I could see some of my sculptural helmets in bronze or something, and then that elevate. You know, when you say ceramic to people, they think mugs, don't they? They think, you know, cups and saucers.
Yeah.
When you say bronze, or you say, you know, that's art, that's sculpture type of thing. So you never know. I have been looking into building maybe forge or something like that. Yeah. My head's going. You know, I want to to do blacksmithing. I want to do carving. I want to do wood carving. I want to do stone carving. I just don't want to limit myself to ceramics. I don't consider myself really a ceramic artist. I just consider myself a sculptor.
Right.
An artist that works with everything. I paint, I draw. It's just the mugs got me taken over and got me a few pound in type of thing, and sort of that way. But I would like to branch out a wee bit more and try to just to get to the next level.
Oh, that's awesome, mate. I think it's like, and I wish you the best of luck with it. To be fair, I think you're probably already on the right path with it, because, like you say, you've got a connection to the custom culture scene anyway. So, and obviously casting stuff like out of metals then becomes more of a mechanical thing that can also be introduced more into the one-off builds and things. People are prepared to wait and pay the right money for the work,
That's it.
which will be incredible. So I think we've pretty much covered a lot of the stuff. And obviously, again, for people that do want to reach out to you, you're Kookietiki on Instagram.
Yeah.
And obviously your website is kookietiki.art. And obviously they'll find your website on Google on kookietiki.art.
Even if you just Google Kookietiki, you'll find me. I've been hashtagging for years type of thing. Or my email, if you want my email, it's cookceramics@gmail.com.
Cook Ceramics. Awesome. Well, that is so.
That way.
So, mate, I want to say again, a massive thank you for saving me on this episode for tonight.
It's been brilliant.
I look forward again to seeing you next year at the next show. Definitely. And obviously we'll keep in touch. I'll keep sharing your stuff on the old Instagram and Facebook as well. And it's awesome. So I'll hit the old end stream button on my ear, and we'll let me just hit that.